Oh, how did I come to find my found family? Let's see. Well, my man and I went to high school together. And I snatched him up, no. We went to school together in Hackensack, New Jersey. And he was my first love. And we grew up together, essentially. You know, that's my foundation.
The collective is actually just family for me, creating community amongst a group of people who have like minds. And that's exactly what we are as far as the collective.
And SHIONA Turini, I started noticing her work and how amazing she was, and we sat next to each other at another friend's fashion show, and we actually didn't speak to each other, even though we followed each other on social media.
When I was an editor, I would always see this Black girl walking around in all the fashions. I think the first thing I saw her in was like a full preen look, and I was like, who is that?
And then we started to be in kind of the same circles, and I think we went on like a group, I remember, vacation in the desert in Joshua Tree, and we naturally kind of just like connected, and she became my sister very quickly. And then she realized that I was a director, and we decided to start working together.
I remember Melina called me one day and she said, I'm about to change your life. And she is the most dramatic person, but she was actually correct. She had suggested me to be the costume designer for Insecure, which led to be the costume designer for Queen and Slim, which was written by LENA WAITHE.
I met Melina way back when at an HBO like after party. And then we really got to connect when she came to direct an episode of Master of None. Ma, I'm gay. And we just really bonded during that experience, and that's when I knew, and I think she knew too, that we would be friends, but I knew that we would, you know, have a very important work relationship as well as friendship. I think I could tell that immediately. And Daniel I met at an early screening of Get Out.
Oh, no, it's cool. I was just confused.
Well, I can assure you there was no funny business.
We spoke, I said how amazing I thought she was, and then we met up personally. Around the same time I actually got to know Cynthia more, because we did Widows. And she talked about Queen and Slim. Lena talked about Queen and Slim. I met Melina, I met Chip, I met Elizabeth, and Shiona through Queen and Slim. It was just like organic.
And then ultimately he was in Queen and Slim, where we just became closer. I think when you work on something with a person, you just naturally become really tight.
I think the first person I met was Daniel. I've known Daniel for a little bit now. We're both from London and we're both on the acting scene there, and we connected. I can't remember why we connected.
I watched Color Purple at the Minor Chocolate Factory, and I thought she was incredible.
I just sort of saw someone who would understand me and I understand him.
And Chef Alisa, I really started going to her restaurant years ago. I really just loved, I've always loved a Black-owned anything.
And I remember visiting her restaurant for the first time, and I didn't leave all day. We went for breakfast, and I think we left at dinner, and she sat with us and she fed us.
I am the non-GMO fry oil that holds all of us together. I mean, I like to say that I'm not an activist, I'm an actionist, meaning my actions create community.
I don't feel like we can exist in our industry without the support of each other. When you're approaching something with a strong sense of community, there's no obstacle that's too big, you know, because you have your people with you.
I've never been in a meeting with Melina where she has not suggested or promoted or championed another person of color behind closed doors. It has been such an example for me to make sure to bring other people with me.
Shiona, who's my stylist, has said something. I've not even told her that. Like, I even noted this in this kind of way. And we had a couple looks that we was looking through for like press and XYZ. And then I was like, oh, I don't want to do this, or we can't do this. And she just said, we can always outdo ourselves. And I just always carry that. You know what I mean? It's like, don't sweat it.
I think I'm a person that really cared about my craft, and I try to encourage other people to care about their craft. I think that's really what this group represents, is people who really care about being great at what they do, not necessarily being known for what they do.
And checking in, celebrating everyone's wins, and holding each other through the tough times, do you know what I'm saying? A lot of like testing of yourself and testing of your character. So that's the importance of community, is like consistently surrounding yourself with people that see the world how you see it and see what is here.
When I was building the restaurant, nobody took me serious because, you know, I would go to these supply shops and do all of the groundwork, and they're saying, so when's your partner showing up, or where's your dad, or you know what I mean?
I feel like when I started out in fashion, especially in editorial, it was a very isolating experience. If I spoke up, if I talked about kind of like the injustice that I felt, it was always, I was like the angry Black woman. It just wasn't a space that I felt like I was accepted or celebrated. Right now, I get to work in spaces where I'm uplifted.
I hope the next generation of Black creatives can do whatever they want to do and not feel like they're always being judged, whether by a mainstream audience or their own people. You know, I think we sometimes can put handcuffs on ourselves when we're creating because we don't want to piss off our folk. I think some of the best art is the kind that makes you uncomfortable and makes you squirm a little bit, and I think that's the kind of art we're trying to make.
Inclusion, creating our own space, motivating and inspiring the next generation to become entrepreneurs, become owners of their work and their craft.
The freedom to be themselves, the freedom to speak from their spirit and not constantly be in conversation with the powers that be.
And I hope that future generations learn that it's okay to make space and create with one another, and that by doing it with one another, you don't lose, you win.
I hope to push the industry, you know? I hope that we can move beyond just having representation of us and really delve into challenging stories that are complex, that are dramatic, that are comedic. I hope that because of my struggle and my fight, it's easier for the next generation. And I also hope that they find community in each other and are rooting for each other, genuinely, you know, and aren't crabs in a barrel trying to pull each other down, because there's more room for us now.